Hey, how's it going, Summoners? My name is Nathan Ng and I'll be your host for this video. We'll be covering the latest Korean builds, including ones that are gaining worldwide popularity. These are builds for every role, so make sure you stay tuned and stay educated on the latest in player innovation. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content like this, and let's get started. Like always, we'll begin in the top lane and work our way down. Our very first build for this video is one for Shen. He's had mostly highs this season with a couple of lows here and there. That being said, Shen is a reliable teammate as well as a powerful laner with this build. You'll become a monster side laner that puts immense pressure on the enemy team. Let me break the build down for you. First, you'll want to run Summoner Ignite for the extra kill pressure, especially since you'll be using your ultimate to join any team fight. For the runes, take Grasp of the Undying, Shield Bash, Second Wind, Unflinching, Cheap Shot, Ultimate Hunter, Attack Speed, Adaptive Force, and a Defensive Rune. Ultimate Hunter is a must. The cooldown on Shen's R is quite high, and lowering it by any amount can easily sway the tide of close games. For his items, build Frostfire Gauntlet, Defensive Boots, Hullbreaker, Thornmail, Anathema's Chains, and Abyssal Mask. This build not only provides the durability that he needs, but with the help of Hullbreaker, Shen is able to quickly clear enemy turrets. If left alone, he'll make it to the Nexus before you know it. In addition, aggressive tank items like Thornmail and Abyssal Mask makes him particularly threatening to immobile squishies. Those that rely on basic attacks or damage are going to have an even harder time dealing with him because of Shen's W. Next on the list is Mordekaiser. This build helps alleviate some of the things that Mordekaiser struggles with. While remaining a powerful 1v1 duelist, he's also an incredible teamfighter who ends up nearly impossible to escape from. You want to run Ghost over Flash. It has a shorter cooldown and allows him to chase enemies even further distances with his perma-slow build. For runes, take Conqueror, Triumph, Legend Tenacity, Last Stand, Bone Plating, Revitalize, Double Adaptive Force, and a Defensive Rune. His items are Frostfire Gauntlet, Defensive Boots, Demonic Embrace, Zanya's Hourglass, Rylai's Crystal Scepter, and Gargoyle's Stoneplate. With Frostfire and Rylai's both in this build, enemies will have no choice but to fight you. Especially if you have Ghost active, trying to run away from a 1v1 is basically futile. But given Mordekaiser's ridiculous damage output and tankiness, there's usually no winning scenario for his opponents. By the way, if you constantly feel like you're stuck in losing situations, make sure you check out our website ProGuides.com and contact one of our coaches. Our expert team of coaches can help you figure out exactly what you need to do to step up your gameplay and rank up. That covers our top lane build, so like always, we'll put those on the screen for you guys one more time. Next, let's run through the jungle. A less conventional build has popped up in the jungle. AP Zac has recently become popularized with the addition of Summoner Ignite. While AP Zac sees play once in a while, the addition of Ignite takes aggressive play to the next level. The reason players are doing this is because they're combining it with Everfrost. There's virtually no way an enemy escapes a combination of Zac's crowd control and Everfrost, so taking Ignite helps secure kills through its damage and healing reduction. This is relevant at all stages of the game. In the late game, the combined lockdown should secure an adequate window of time for Zac and his teammates to react, thus taking Ignite simply helps to guarantee the kill. For runes, take Aftershock, Font of Life, Conditioning, Revitalize, Triumph, Tenacity, Ability Haste, Adaptive Force, and Health. His items are Everfrost, Defensive Boots, Zanya's Hourglass, Thornmail, Spirit Visage, and Rabadon's Deathcap. This build provides a ton of mixed damage and tankiness, but we're looking at Thornmail and Spirit Visage here. Spirit Visage synergizes so well with Zac's passive, so it's pretty difficult to pass it up. Thornmail is basically an offensive item with how much it increases a tank's damage output. The next jungle build that we have for you is Udyr. It's a hybrid AP and tank build, allowing him to apply plenty of pressure while also frontlining for his team. When he's able to reach his targets, the damage output isn't something that can easily be shrugged off. You'll want to run Summoner Ghost, as this will allow Udyr to more effectively dish out more damage in longer fights, especially if he's chasing down ranged carries. For runes, take Conqueror, Triumph, Legend Tenacity, Last Stand, Conditioning, Unflinching, Attack Speed, Adaptive Force, and Health. Legend Tenacity with Unflinching is a godlike combo, especially if you find yourself needing crowd control against heavy AD comps. For items, build Frostfire Gauntlet, Defensive Boots, Demonic Embrace, Frozen Heart, Force of Nature, and Lichbane. Frozen Heart makes it much more rewarding for Udyr when he's able to reach his targets and stay on top of them, effectively saving himself health while also significantly cutting down any AD carry's damage output. That wraps up the jungle build, so make sure you take another look at the screen for a recap of those builds. Next is the mid lane. We'll begin with the mid lane with the build for Garen. His innate tankiness, high damage, and silence demands respect from many of his opponents. The silence is especially powerful considering most mid laners are highly reliant on their abilities. With this build, you're going to be running Flash, Ghost, and Predator. By maximizing mobility, you're able to roam and impact the map when enemies give up lane pressure. Especially when you're ahead, your opponents are going to often be forced to concede the lane and let you push so they don't die. For runes, take Predator, Cheap Shot, Eyeball Collection, Relentless Hunter, Nimbus Cloak, Celerity, Double Adaptive Force, and a Defensive Rune. For the items, make sure you build Berserker's Greaves, Stridebreaker, Mortal Reminder, Force of Nature or Dead Man's, Death Stance, and Guardian Angel. Mortal Reminder's anti-heal is extremely powerful, especially since Garen can apply it to several enemies at once. The mid lane also features the return of Qiyana. Back with the Bruiser Assassin hybrid build, Kiana is able to deal ridiculous amount of burst damage while also being nearly unkillable. Tanky assassins have always been frustrating to play with because of their durability, damage, and mobility. For her runes, run Conqueror, Presence of Mind, Legend Alacrity, Last Stand, Sudden Impact, Ingenious Hunter, Double Adaptive Force, and a defensive rune. For her items, build Eclipse, Defensive Boots, Death's Dance, Black Cleaver, Maul of Malmortius, and Guardian Angel. Before continuing with the video, do you like or dislike the balance changes that we've seen this season? I'm personally not really a fan of it. They keep buffing and nerfing things that I don't think are necessary, but you know, that might just be me. Anyway, they are buffing more than they're nerfing, so it gives the meta more time to naturally develop, rather than just nerfing something immediately. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and let's continue on with the video. We're done with the mid lane, so make sure you take a look at the screen again for those builds. To wrap up the video, we have to talk about our bottom lane builds. In the bottom lane, we're starting to see a slight modification to Miss Fortune's build. One single item can change things up, but first let me talk about her runes. Her runes are Arcane Comment, Mana Flow Band, Absolute Focus, Scorch, Magical Footwear, Biscuit Delivery, Double Adaptive Force, and a defensive rune. This is a set of focus on the early game and provides you with the extra power that you need to dominate. For items, build Mana Immune, Ionian Boots of Lucidity, Leandri's Anguish, Axiom Arc, Yumi's Ghostblade, and either Edge of Night or the Collector. Building Leandri's allows Miss Fortune to also deal a significant amount of extra magic damage. The burn, as well as the fact that Miss Fortune has some solid AP ratios, makes it a surprisingly good buy. Combining Axiom Arc with the massive ability haste that you gain from Leandri's Mythic bonus, you'll also have access to Miss Fortune's ultimate much more frequently. Next up is a more utility-based build for Zyra. While she is known for dealing a ridiculous amount of damage, you can still deal a comparable amount while also providing plenty of utility for your team. For runes, take Glacial Augment, Perfect Timing, Biscuit Delivery, Cosmic Insight, Mana Flow Band, Scorch, Double Adaptive Force, and a defensive rune. As you can see, you're running Glacial Augment here, which will emphasize her power as a defensive support that can peel for her carries. Next are her items. Build Lockout of the Iron Solari, Ionian Boots of Lucidity, Zanya's Hourglass, Redemption, and Rabadon's Death Cap. Ultimately, you'll provide a lot more defensive utility with this build due to the addition of Locket and Redemption. Finally, we have a bot lane duo. This time, it's going to be Taliyah and Maokai. This duo packs a punch with their impressive crowd control. It's extremely difficult to play against them because as soon as Maokai lands his W, Taliyah gets a free follow-up with the full combo. Unless the enemy player targeted has cleanse, it's almost always a guaranteed death when they get caught out. Even with it, they'll have to act fast or burn their flash to get out of danger. These two also provide insane utility as the game progresses, with both their ultimates cutting off large areas in fights. For Taliyah's runes, take Dark Harvest, Cheap Shot, Eyeball Collection, Ingenious Hunter, Mana Flow Band, Gathering Storm, Double Adaptive Force, and a defensive rune. Her items are Everfrost, Sorcerer's Shoes, Shadow Flame, Void Staff, Zanya's Hourglass, and Rabadon's Death Cap. Maokai's runes are Aftershock, Font of Life, Second Wind, Revitalize, Hextech Flash Traption, Futures Market, Ability Haste, Armor, and a second defensive rune. Finally, for his items, build Even Shroud, Defensive Boots, Zanya's Hourglass, Force of Nature, and Gargoyle's Stoneplate. After both players finish their mythic items, their kill pressure increases immensely. The bonus damage amp from Even Shroud as well as the extra lockdown Everfrost provides is suffocating to play against. That wraps up the bottom lane build, so for the last time, we'll put them up on the screen for you. With that, we concluded our Korean builds for patch 12.8. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, feel free to expand the description where you can find a link to join our Discord community. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.